Mario Winans.
Oh, man.
Thank you.
Pleasure and an honor to be here, man. First of all, how y'all doing today?
Great.
Y'all doing good. And, okay, your name?
David.
David?
Aiden.
Aiden?
Aiden.
Aiden. Okay,
Yep.
that's what's up, man. Man, so what's going on, y'all? So everybody's producers, right? Right, just strictly you're a producer and an engineer, right? Who else engineers? Well, pretty much everybody, right? You kind of control your own stuff. Okay, what's up, man? That's what's up. So basically, I was telling him that one of the main things that I would love to have a conversation with you guys about is substance, longevity, and feeling in music. You know, we live in a very, very technical world, but it's been kind of very important to me to just teach the youth and to help the youth understand, use and utilize the technology that we have at our hands, but don't allow it to take the creativity from you. You know what I mean? Don't depend on it to give you the feeling that's going to come from inside of you. Okay? Because you're taking emotion and putting it into non-emotion. So you got to put as much emotion in there as possible. Right? Because the technical part is going to be the technical part. But just never lose the feeling, because the feeling is what's going to connect with the people. And that's where you can see the difference between songs that last forever and songs that just come and go. You know what I mean? And you want to be able to have substance in your music. And of course, there'll be some projects that you may work on, or some artists that just may not want that deep of substance, and you may just get one off real quick and keep it moving. That's going to happen sometimes. But I would just advise that, you know, keep that at the forefront of your mind of what you're really doing it for. You know, I was telling them about, before I came here, knowing your why, why God blessed us with these gifts and talents, because it's for the masses. It ain't for the artists, it ain't for the labels, it's for the people, right? The artists and the labels is just the tool, you know? So when you really see it like that, you can really create from a different place. You know what I'm saying? But I just think that's one of the most, to me, most important thing. Feeling, melody. Right now, if I go, what am I singing?
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Right? Or ABCs. Right?
Yeah.
See? Y'all should do that.
Different songs.
Huh?
It's just there was multiple songs there.
Right. But the originator is ABC. Right? You've seen that. Any kid can sing that. Even if they don't know the full alphabet, they're going to know that melody. You understand what I'm saying? So melody is very important, you know? But that's always been something. And then another thing too, man, study. You know? Study. Don't be afraid to go back and study. I see a lot of younger generation, they got so much, you know, vigor and so much excitement in them that they just feel like, I don't need to go back. No, that's not true. Go back and study and see where this stuff came from. You understand? Go study these bands. Go study different genres. Go study different cultures and understand where all of this music came from. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's also going to help in your creativity. What's going on? You know, it's also going to help in your creativity. I still, to this day, I study. I got thousands and thousands of vinyls that I'll just listen to, you know. Because even when you're not actually creating, you can still be creative by feeding your mind and your brain different things. You gotta open up your mind to all aspects of music, all aspects of instruments, all aspects of sounds, all aspects of creativity. You understand what I'm saying? And you can pull it from everywhere. Movies, you can just pull it. You know, so you have to be a sponge of learning so that you can really understand where you're headed, you know? And then also be who it is that you are in this music game. Don't look at someone else's success and say, I'm gonna produce like that. No. Produce, that might take you, maybe you'll get a couple of hits that way. But being who you really are, it'll be limitless. You know, nothing will be able to stop you. You know, but for me, and if it's anything that you guys can really remember, is that the feeling, the substance, make it matter, right? Keep the masses at your forefront. You know, ask the questions when you're dealing with these labels. Don't just place place the record or sell your baby to somebody. Say you get $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. You give them the song and you just on to the next one. No, what's your plan for this? Right? What's your plan for this? So if your music is not really making you feel like you want to ask those questions and find out where it's going after that, add some more feeling and substance to it. By the time you get to an artist, you want to be so secure and so sure that this is something that's going to change someone's life that you don't just throw it to them and then keep it moving because you got a bag. Nah, it's bigger than that. You understand? It's really bigger than that. And that's what's going to separate y'all from those who stay in the game and those who may go on a run for a couple years and make a couple $1 million and then you don't never hear from them again. I never wanted that in my life. I want to change people's lives. I want to continue to change people's lives, and I want to spark other minds that want to change people's lives, because that's why we have these gifts. You know, so there's an accountability and a responsibility that comes along with it. You know, and if done correctly, there's nothing that y'all can't do. You know, and there's no person that you can't write the biggest song of their life for. You know what I mean? And yeah, man. Yeah, let me stop talking a little bit. Y'all got some questions or something, man? Because I could go on for years down this road, man. Y'all, anybody want to speak up and ask some questions or something like that? Y'all have any ideas or something? I'm listening.
I apologize for coming in late.
Man, first thing, this is studio, bro.
I know,
You don't have to worry about that, man. I done waited so long for some of these big artists. I won't say no names.
No, that's fine, bro.
Don't you worry about that.
I wanted to be here on time, but I walked out. I was like,
You was right on time. I was actually early. Don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Anyways, when you first started out making music, what or who drove you to keep making music and end up becoming like who you are today?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. For me, I started off as a drummer, right? I was playing drums in the church, and one day my mom I was always fascinated with drum machines, but it didn't really go further than that. But one day my mom came home, she had a sequencer. I think it was a Roland MC500. You remember that white one with the dial on it? Right? That was one of the first things I had with the floppy disk. And I think I had a Yamaha RX-7, the drum machine. Wow. And a Tascam 4-track, right? That was my setup. And so once I started seeing that I could put it together, I think I made it known 2 or 3 chords. So all my tracks had the same chords, just flipped around. But back then I used to study a lot. I studied Teddy Riley. That was one of my biggest influencers. David Foster, Quincy Jones, Bruce Hornsby. It's a big part of the emotion that I put in my music. I was pulling from Bruce and Sting and Phil Collins, right? So it was those guys and how they were putting out not just music, but they were putting out like eventful things. Like when it was just so overwhelmingly past just the music to where I was like, I have to do that. Like I want to affect people like this is affecting me. Like I'm sweating listening to, like I'm feeling like I want to cry. Like it just took me on these different emotions, and I'm like, man, this is something that we can utilize to change the world. You know, it sounds like it's impossible, but if you look at the world and then you look at the music, it's kind of parallel, right? Not all the music, but a good part of the music. If you look at that and you match it up to what's going on in the world, it's kind of parallel, right? So that was one of the driving forces, those guys who I was studying, right? And then also wanting to be a part of that, you know? And yeah, I would say that's really what was driving me, because I just wanted to make music to make people feel good, you know?
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
No worries, bro. What's up, Jim?
Do you still find yourself producing with like those like physical like instruments? Because I found that for me, I rather produce with like a physical synthesizer, physical drum machine than be in front of my computer, because I feel like I get overwhelmed by it. I have way too many sounds in front of me. I'd rather just have this and that, and then be able to figure it out just like that.
Yeah, I'm also like he'll tell you, an equipment fanatic, like a keyboard fanatic. In my sessions, that whole entire wall would be keyboards and racks, and then I would have more keyboards in there. You know what I'm saying? Like 9, 10 guitars, a drum set with 15 snares. So like all of that, and having access to it, as opposed to having to clicking,
Yeah.
you know. But I have adapted to it. I'm able to still do what I need to do in that aspect. But for me, I come to find like sometimes if I'm trying to finish a record, because for the most part when we was creating, I would just put together the drums, put them in the computer, and then everything after that would be live. Like I would just play it straight down. So your first verse is gonna be different from the second verse. It just, because I don't really like for my music to feel sequenced at all. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not really how it started, right? So it really was never supposed to start feeling like sequence parts, because it was always a band. So it was just a song, So you want to make sure, even when you're creating, you don't want it to feel like a sequence. You know what I'm saying? That's something else. So when you listen to it, if it feels like it's just a bunch of different parts, change some things. You know what I mean? Change some things, play the chord or play the keyboard parts all the way down. As opposed to just copying and pasting and just to hurry up and get done with it. Really, really create a masterpiece. You know what I mean? But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I'll fill this room up with keyboards. And still have, I got, 10, 15, 20 terabytes of sounds connected to my computer at all times. But I still got my old keyboards. I'm talking about keyboards you got to turn on 3 hours just for the tuning to be right. Talking about, you remember the moves with the tubes on them? Like, this keyboard's just heavy as this doggone thing right here. But, yeah, I like the hardware, too. And don't let anybody tell you no different, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Get that hardware. You can make it, you know what I'm saying? Because what I never really wanted is anybody can be like, oh, he used, you got to be a genius to figure out what I use in my songs. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, man. You got a question?
Yeah. At what point do you feel like a song is finished or ready to be put out? Like, is it? Do you think about it as being up to like a standard of quality, or does it have to reach you emotionally?
Yeah, the song will tell you when it's done. The song itself will tell you. You know it. You'll feel it. You know what I mean? You will feel it, and it'll tell you. Just like it'll tell you if it needs a bridge. By the time you get after that second hook, you can ignore it because you just want to be finished with it. But that song will tell you, we need a bridge, And it's just our duty to answer to that and to just make sure you complete it and add everything possible. Because you can always pull back. But once it's out, you don't want that feeling like, man, I should have, and it's out already. You know what I mean?
Right. Like the not having tried different things.
Yeah, try it. Just never lose the song.
Okay.
Trying to finish the song.
Okay.
Because I've seen that happen plenty of times. There is a such thing as overproducing. And I've worked with some of the greatest producers, and I've had to tell them, man, we about to lose the song, bro. We try one more sound on this, we're starting to lose starting to unravel. You know what I mean? It's just like cooking a meal. You cooking chicken stew, you don't be like, you know what? Let me see if we can make this chicken stew better. Take the chicken out. It ain't chicken stew no more, right? So now you got a whole nother dish you trying to concoct because you just maybe trying the wrong things,
So what do you look for when you're studying, like through all your records? What are you pulling from those records that helps influence your song?
Honestly, when I'm studying, I'm really just opening myself up. I'm not really looking for anything specific. That's how you end up finding everything. Because if I'm looking for one specific thing, I might miss the whole reason that this album was a dope album. You know what I'm saying? So I just kind of just listen just for the sake of listening and appreciating music and appreciating different people's approaches in music. You know what I'm saying? And like the bands and the musicians and the way it sounds and stuff like that, Some of the greatest drum sounds I've ever pulled is off of vinyl. Kick snares and that I pull off of vinyl, recorded to 2-track first. Because I don't care what DAW they come out with, ain't nothing ever in history gonna sound better than you dumping your music to a 2-track first. Then you can dump it to wherever you want to dump it. But it's substance that you're putting it on. It ain't just in thin air. So you got an actual tape that your sound is on. That warmth and that knock is unmatched. You know? But yeah, for me, I just open up and just study whatever it gives me. You know, I just embrace it.
So you're just like taking whatever instinct pops up because of the sounds that are happening, right?
Yeah, or just vibing to it and just seeing where they coming from with their approach. You know, like say I'm listening to the Isley Brothers. I can't really say what the heck I'm listening for when I'm listening to them because it's so complex. But you get so much from it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta just be open to it, you know? But then once you know a certain band or something like that, then you kind of know what you're gonna get from that. Like I know when I listen to Bruce Hornsby, I'm gonna get an approach to different chords that's gonna pull so much emotion out of you, an approach to different chords that's gonna be soaked in passion that only he does. There's millions of piano players, phenomenal piano players, that could probably play better than him. But there's not many that can make you feel how he feels when he plays that piano. Okay? Bruce Hornsby, trust me. You really want to get your passion and emotion on? Listen to him. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yes, sir.
When you started your journey as as being a producer and as being an artist and composer and where you're at right now, did you ever go through different career choices or career where you had to have different career choices up right in front of you, and you had to having all of that making you kind of second guess what your passion was? Did that ever come across to you?
Yeah, did the industry get in the way? Yeah, of course. You know, of course. And sometimes you can even get sidetracked a little bit. But music itself and the people is what always aligned me. You know, first of all, God is the reason why I'm doing this. You know, so anytime I felt like I was losing my way or things was, just getting out of hand, because at some point, if you have 5, 6 radio songs in heavy rotation at radio, getting all these calls from these different artists, and there was a time where I was doing 4 sessions a day at the same time. So I would be driving from studio to studio. I would have Janet Jackson in this studio. Then I would leave her while she's finishing the vocals, go check on Beyonce session, then leave that, and then I'm going to finish a Puff record, and I'm mixing another record. So sometimes when all of that's coming, you have to be intentional about don't lose yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you never want to lose yourself. And but a clear indication of it is how your music starts to feel. Your music will tell you. You know.
What drawed you back? I mean, what drawed you back to your center?
Well,
all that.
The love of music, the love and appreciation of the gifts that I had and that I have, and never wanting to lose what got me to where I was, and always, maintaining and praying to maintain a level of humility that I can hear and see when I'm off, and then to correct it, but also to understand that we're human. So you're gonna have that. You're not gonna always cross every T and dot every I because we're human, but that's what makes us special. But just, again, when you know your why, you'll always center back. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll start to feel a little different when things are off,
Thank you.
Of course.
I have another question. So specifically talking about production, what is your approach to keeping space or leaving space for an artist while still keeping production or the instrumentation engaging throughout the song?
Well, my approach is you just have to, when you produce, right? There's a big difference between a producer and a beat maker. Huge difference, right? So when you're producing a record, you have to really understand when it's time to give it to a writer. You don't have to put everything on it. That's one of the ways I produce. I'll start it and get the emotion there and the substance there, and then we can go from there. Because after that, sprinkling it and all of that type of stuff, you just do that afterwards. But you kind of leave space for the writer to color it, melody-wise. But then there's some times to where, depending on the artist, you may have to put a little bit more in there, right? Or depending on the writer, I may have to just write the melody myself, depending on the composition that I'm working on. Excuse me. Especially if it's really, really, really emotional, I kind of want to guide them as much as possible. Sometimes you got to just guide them all the way to the end. You know what I'm saying? Just to make sure that creation still keeps that thing that you're feeling. You know what I'm saying? You can't just let it fly and then you get it back like, man, you went way left with the melody, you know? So there's still even a balance in that. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of depends on the artist you're working with. But that's still like practice. You know what I mean?
How as a beat maker or producer, when you're making a song and you finish it and you know it's I lost my question.
No,
Sorry
take
about
your
that.
time.
No, I did. Oh my god.
Was it like
that's
finishing?
crazy.
Finishing? It sounded like you were talking.
No, it was. Oh my god, that's so bad.
Take your time, man.
Um,
Want to come back?
yeah, come back, please.
I got a question. What's your thoughts on as an artist, producer, and you know composer? What is your thoughts on a solo act, like being a solo when it comes to working on being the one, like you know, I want to be the person to create this. I want to be able to be the person to produce my stuff, and you know, like you have a certain vision on what kind of music you want to create, and you know, thinking like you know, okay, you know, I could do these certain type of things, or I need to do these things. Then to let's say you work with a team and all that stuff. Like, what's your point of view on that? If that makes sense.
You mean you saying like producer just being your sole producer as opposed
Not
to
only
having
as
a team?
I guess like as you being, as a composer, artist, producer, or whatever you want to become. What is your thoughts on being, you know, being lone wolf, I guess, and working with people? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I feel like that just kind of you'll either evolve into that or you'll evolve into having a team. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because once you start creating and the energies and stuff like that, you're gonna either start drawing some people or you're gonna just have your own thing that you're doing. But my advice would be is just to stay open. You know, because you never want to be intentional about I'm gonna just do this by myself, because guess what? Your biggest hit could come from collaborating with someone. So I would say always stay open, you know, and then whichever way it's supposed to be, you'll grow into that. And even if you are doing it alone, always stay open, because you just never know. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been open to just meeting new people and working with new people. How I met him, you know. I just had this idea I wanted to put a rock band together, and he just came in the audition. When I saw him, I was like, man, I gotta work with this guy, because he had so much passion and intention on what he was doing. Like I had never seen it, man. I've been around from all the bass players you could think of, right? But I had never seen anyone like approach the playing like he was looking at his bass like it was his baby or something, and he was playing with so much passion, and I was just like, what am I looking at right now? You know what I'm saying? And that's why I started calling him into the studio. Forgot all about the band. And I was like, man, we'll get back to that. I need you to come work with me. You know what I'm saying? And but it was his approach to it, and just me being open to connect and collab with him. 13 years later, I'm sitting here with you guys. You know? So I would say always stay open, you know, because you don't really have to intentionally be by yourself. You're already by yourself,
Right.
right? You're already a lone star when you are creating, but just stay open.
Can I answer that maybe? Well, one
No,
thing.
you're good.
Maybe part of that question too is do you do everything? Maybe there's parts like there's mastering, there's mixing, there's.
Oh, do I do
There's-
everything?
Composing.
Is that?
Yeah.
Sitting down making.
Yeah, I can do
the
it all.
actual instruments.
Yeah, I can do it all. You know, I don't want to know I did that completely by myself, and a whole bunch of other records I just did by myself. But I'm still, you know, I like to be open. But there are times, If I'm creating something, I'm working on something, it'll just happen and it'll just flow. If it's flowing and you're getting it done, just let it be. You know, you don't really have to put too much intention on either side of that. Creativity will lead you where you need to go. And if it's to have someone with you, fine. If not, fine.
I got one more question to
Of
ask you.
course.
When you look at your life as a journey, do you see it as your path as a straight path or a path that is gonna be ups and downs and all over the place?
There is no straight path, my friend. Because without the turns and twists, you don't learn anything. You get used to the straight path, and you can grow weary on that straight path. You can grow ungrateful on that straight path, but you learn to appreciate the things that God has given you and the talents He's given you because of the twists and the turns. You know, and that becomes a part of your story. And when you have more of a story, you have more in your creativity. And when you have more in your creativity, you touch more people because of your experience, right? You can't speak too much to someone when you get older. You can't turn around and speak to someone that's got a windy life, twists and turns, if you haven't been on any twists and turns. So again, you have to remind yourself of why you're doing it. You know what I mean?
How do you add more creativity to your content? Like when you're gonna compose, write lyrics or anything like that, how do you generate more ideas and
Studying.
more content?
Studying. Those ideas come from actually when you're not actually creating. Right? When you're not creating, you got to go study and you have to be in a creative space. You know, I tell people all the time, you creativity doesn't just start when you're actually in the action. Creativity starts way before that. That's just the manifestation of what's already been downloaded into your spirit, into your brain, into your heart, and your soul. You know, so by the time you get there, the creativity met you way before that. This is just the outcome of it. You understand? So you have to keep filling up as much as possible. So study all the different genres, you know, and just do your due diligence to put as much as music in your brain and in your mind, consciously and subconsciously. Sometimes I'll just throw on music and not even sit and pay attention to it, because I know that's another way I train my ears and practice with my ears too. Oh wait, what was that? So now my mind is trained to pick up something that I feel, whether I'm intentionally listening to it or not. You know, so those are different things that you do. You practice, and you study, and you work on your craft. And just take your time.
So, as a producer, beat maker, how do you, or anybody who is a producer, beat maker, how do you get yourself known to either, you know, bigger artists or, you know, other producers, other musicians like Professor Farrell volunteered to play bass for you, and you kind of saw him like that, and a person like you who's up there started working with him. How do you, like, how, from a producer's point of view, especially just beginning, what would you say to kind of, I guess my overall would just be like, how do you get known as a producer?
Well, it's relationships are very important in the music industry, right? But preparation for those relationships are way more important, you know, because someone can walk in here right now and say, man, I'm going to sign you.
Right.
Are you, and this is what I need you to do, XXX. If you're not ready for it, you're just not ready for it. I mean, you won't ever be ready for it.
Right.
But I think, you know, preparing yourself and working on your craft and making music that is just undeniable.
Mm-hmm.
How do you make music that's undeniable? Being who you truly are to your core. Tell me your name again.
My name's Anthony.
Anthony. So when you make that music, Anthony, it makes you feel the kind of way. You understand what I'm saying? After you've studied and listened to other songs that make you feel that kind of way, you'll know. But just keep working on your craft. Focus on that, and everything else is going to come to you as you are prepared for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. Thank you for
And
that.
then when you get in the game, go hard.
At any point in your career or whatever, have you ever felt like boxed in the one thing, and how would you like advise, or like how did you get out of that?
Well, You know, I've been blessed in my career to be able to spread out between different genres. 'Cause, you know, I was raised in the church. My family is Winans family, so everybody thought I was just gonna produce gospel all my life, including me. And then I ended up at Bad Boy, right? And you know, even when I was producing hip hop, um, the way that it was happening was, and it kind of changed the face of hip hop a little bit because we pretty much started adding more music to it and making R&B in hip hop, right? And so, you know, again, just studying. So again, studying Bruce Hornsby, studying Phil Collins. So knowing, okay, I can't use these sounds. You can, but there are certain sonics and sounds that change the genres, right? If you listen to different genres, there's just a different approach to all of them. You know, so that becomes a part of your studying too. But I never really felt boxed in because I was always, you know, approaching things different. You know, every day in the studio I would load up, have my engineers load up a different batch of sounds. I wasn't just going to do the same type of thing. So I was starting with different drums. Some days I would go in the studio and say, okay, I'm not using no 808s, I'm not using none of these, I'm not using none of these, none of that. Sometimes I would go in the studio, we'll take 30, 40 records, and you got to throw them on the floor, close your eyes, pick 3 records, and you got to make all your tracks for that day off those 3 records. You got to go find everything you can on those records. Just putting yourself to the test, you know. And but never let anyone box you in. I don't care how good you are at something else. If you're feeling something else, do it. You know. You got a question, David?
Yes. So when you're songwriting, I noticed that for me, I normally find myself in a 8-bar or 16-bar loop, and I'll have an A and a B section, but they're not necessarily that different. How do you like really make each section unique over time? Because when you're making a full song, that's 2 minutes, 30 seconds to 4 minutes of the same kinds of vibes and the same kind of feeling, and I find it hard to do that without like keeping everything similar.
Well, you just have to remember this. It's a journey you're taking people on, right? It's a journey you're taking them on. So when you know it's a journey, there's a starting point and there's an ending point. And in songs, when you're taking them on a journey, it's just like a journey up. When you get to the bridge, there's another part of the journey that takes you higher. And then you got the climax at the end of the song, and then the song is over. You just have to remember it's a journey. You know what I'm saying? And just make sure that you have substance in it and what it feels like. Guess what? If it doesn't need to change and the feeling is there, it don't need to change. Right? I know I keep talking about I Don't Want to Know, but I Don't Want to Know is, if you think about that song, there was nothing, it was just me and the 2 loops until the second verse. And in the second verse, I added the piano and the bass, right? There were no backgrounds on none of the choruses. It's just me. I've heard of it's like, man, we're going to stack that 8 times, harmonies. Nah, it was just me because that's what worked with the feeling. You know, if I would have stacked a bunch of backgrounds when I'm singing that I Don't Want to Know, it wouldn't have had the same feeling. So I needed to be by my doggone self like that until the bridge of the song. So nothing really changed, but the melody grabbed you. So you just have to know it doesn't always have to be too intricate. If that feeling is there, let it sit. You know, just let it sit. Pull some of what you have out already. You know what I mean? That's all. It doesn't always have to be complex if it has that feeling. Now, if it doesn't have, then maybe you do a chord change for the beat section. You know, you take all the music out, leave the drums, and just do a different chord structure. That'll go perfectly into the next section. You know what I mean? But it doesn't always have to be that way. If the feeling is there, you may not want to. You know what I mean? But it's up to you. You got the paintbrush. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you see it. You know?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, as a producer, do you feel like it's better to have a signature sound that artists come to you for, or do you feel like it's better to adapt to different artists that you work with or different genres that you might work in?
Always have your own signature sound. Yeah. Yeah. Because a lot of times the artists, they don't always know. A lot of them think they know, and that's okay. They should have that approach. They should want to know about their career, but sometimes they need to be led, and guided. So always have your sound, because you'll be ping ponging all over the place, trying to figure out what it is that they want them dictating to you. Because then you're really not producing. You're just a musician. You're just a hired musician at that point. You know what I mean? Yes, sir.
How did you develop your mindset in the
I'm sorry?
How did you develop your mindset through the business, or at least through everything you went through?
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Like, how did you keep that hunger?
Well, I kept the hunger because of the people. There's plenty of times I wanted to walk away from it all. Even at the height of it, But my passion for music and my passion for people, and being able to see someone in another country that cannot speak to me and talking, but sing 30 to 45 minutes of every record that I perform. Seeing that and seeing so much passion and so much, I'm like, I can never give up on them, the people. The industry is a different thing. But you just have to remember, the industry is just a tool. Never let the industry or some of these characters in the industry take away your passion and your drive. Never. Because, trust me, you're going to have those days. Because you have some interesting characters in this industry. But then the blessing of it is, God has placed people like myself in your lives now, and him in your life. We got a nickname for him too. I ain't gonna tell y'all yet. You told him?
No.
All right, we'll leave that alone. We'll tell y'all. The next meeting, we'll tell y'all.
After they graduate.
but yeah, man. So you're gonna have those times. You'll have those times where you have to encourage yourself. You have those times where you need to step away for a minute. But just always remember, your why. It's for the people, man. Someone in another country that needs to hear the song you created, and just make sure when they hear it, it changes their lives for the better. You know what I mean? Yes, sir.
Say I have someone like you in my life, right, who's already in the industry doing exactly what I want to do.
Mhm.
How do I fully utilize that person as a resource without being, an asshole?
Well, I think you just let it happen. I think you just let it happen. You didn't have to be an asshole for me to come here and see you today, right? I'm here, right in front of you, right? You didn't have to petition nothing. I'm here, right? Obviously, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, something special about all 9 of you guys, and the right people will draw to you. When you really focus in on your purpose, that's really the main thing that's kept me, because I understand purpose was when I first started out, it was my career, but now I understand that it was always bigger than my career. It's purpose at hand, and when you understand that, and then you ask the Creator, God, whatever your name you have for Him, to give you that understanding and insight, it'll develop on its own. The right person will come. You know what I mean?
A few weeks back, I was actually talking to Professor Farrell about this. How, as someone who's in college, and I want to, get known, of course, by, up their records. I've done, I've tried DMing, top guys and, all these, producers, managers. I'm trying to email this one guy who's up there, and, I'm taking chances with just taking my time and trying to get in touch with these top line or top, artists, records. Do you think that's a bad idea, and I should just wait for my music to kind of reach that point where it is getting known by records or artists who are up there?
I would just say, continue to prepare yourself for when it does happen, right? Because you want to be able to continue it, right?
Right.
Say you do get that call, and you go in the studio with that artist, or that producer, or that label, and then they give you all of these demands that they want.
Mm.
You really want that to be your one shot, because if you're not prepared for it, you could have blew it. Right?
Right.
Just because you're eager, you know what I'm saying? Never let the fame change the game.
For sure.
Never. You know. So another thing that I've always tried to focus on is being effective. You know, over famous, any of that. I would take being effective over all of that. You know, there's millions of people that have no clue of how much music I've put into this music industry. God has blessed me to sell over 50 million records as a producer. But there's millions of people that love me and only think I've came out with one song. But I have no problem with that, because I know it's affecting them. It's affecting someone. So it's really not about the fame, it's about being effective. You know what I mean? It's about
I don't know if I...
No, it's not. No. I'm just giving you the overall understanding to that.
No, because like I'm extremely grateful for like where I am and like the people that I'm around, professors. I couldn't have asked for better professors. I'm not just saying that to get good grades, I swear. No, like being famous, I'm not worried about it. I'm more worried about getting known and having my hard work be shown. That's
Well, a lot of people knowing you is called famous. You know that, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying famous as an artist or something. I'm just
Right.
saying famous among your peers.
No, for sure.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But your music will speak for itself.
For sure.
You know,
Yeah.
just let your music speak for itself, and everything and everybody else will come at the right time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure. Thank you.
Of course, bro.
Have you ever found yourself in like writer's block, either like songwriting or just like musically, or like creating instrument parts? And how do you normally get yourself out of those phases?
I just walk away. Just take a break. Oh, it ain't happening today? All right, well, let's go get some chicken wings. We'll come back tomorrow. It's simple. You know what I mean? If it ain't flowing, don't force it. You know? If it ain't flowing, don't force it. There's been plenty of times when we've been to the studio and I'm like, man, we're going to go do this. We just end up kind of like, I ain't vibing today. All right, let's just do something different creatively. Let's just listen to a bunch of stuff. Let's just study a bunch of stuff. Or let's just not create nothing. Let's just take the next 3-4 days and just sample nothing but sounds. Work on your sound catalog, you know. But you're gonna always have those days, you know.
What is your thoughts on records, like record labels and all that stuff, or being your sole artist?
So one more time. What are my thoughts on record labels?
Record labels
Or being
an
independent?
independent artist, yeah. Like, honestly. Because that's something I'm learning on now. I'm taking, like, music business, which is a really great opportunity that this college actually provides a lot, teaching us to understand it. So that's something I'm kind of curious about, at least.
Well, I think there's benefits on both sides, to be honest. You know, you just have to understand what you're getting into either way. Because you got to understand what you're getting into on the independent side, because it's just more work that you have to do. It's a lot easier now to be independent, you know, but it's a lot of work to really do it the right way. And then on the label side, you just have to understand what you're getting into. You know, you can't allow curiosity or eagerness to make you sell yourself short. You know, because they may or may not tell you if you're selling yourself short or not. Right? Because it's still the music business. You have to always remember that. This is a business. You know, lately it's been more on the business side than the music side, if I had to say. And you see the results of that, you know, but there's benefits on both sides, and there's, you know, it's just how you navigate with it, you know. But again, just preparation and knowing who you are and you know what you will or will not stand for. No one can force you to sign anything. No one can force you to do anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's really where you are in your mindset, and being prepared for that. You know, either way.
Have you ever faced self-doubt, like, when producing, or, like, if you ever, like, decide to take a couple of days off of, like, creating, have you ever, like, faced, like, self-doubt, or, like, thought, like, what I've been doing lately hasn't just been up to par or anything like that?
Yeah, you're gonna have those days where you kind of like maybe grow a little bit weary of what's going on and the time and the process. But let me tell you something. I would say right now I have published about 250 songs, right, that I've placed out. Out of those 250 songs, I would say 15, 20 were massive hits. But out of those 250 songs placed, I've created about 30, 40,000 tracks. You understand? So you just have to keep being creative. There's been tracks that I've done that became massive hits that I don't want to know, was 3 years old when it came out. Yeah. And then a couple of other records is tracks that I've had just sitting around, but then it was just timing. You know what I'm saying? So I would just stay consistent in it, and you know, it's all gonna happen. And of course, it can be discouraging because we live in a world to where, you know, everything is freaking instant. Everything is instant. Something happened across the world, we know it in 5 seconds. You know, so of course, automatically after a while, your mind's gonna tell you, no, this is supposed to happen just like this. And then sometimes we see people who may or may not have as much as talent as we think they have. Sometimes it's very true, sometimes it may not be. And they shoot up to the sky. But that doesn't mean that it's better, you know? Sometimes things just happen like that. But just know that there's a lot of other things at play behind some of those quick pop-up success. You know, so you have to be mindful of not to follow the wrong thing because it happened faster. Because a lot of that stuff don't last. You know what I'm saying? But of course you're gonna have those days. You know, but when you have those days, again, go study, go watch some documentaries. James Brown, you know why he was old our entire life? Think about it. Yeah, it's funny. James Brown was, ever since I knew him, he was old. Not old like, you know, cripple old, but his first hit was it Try Me? I think Try Me, he was like 45 when he got his first hit. But when it hit, you see who he is today? That man was 45 years old, I think. Right? Was 45, something like that? Yeah, Try Me. 45, bro. Imagine his doubt. When it hit, he influenced Michael Jackson. He influenced Prince. So imagine if he had gave up. You know what I mean? It's just timing. It's just timing. That's all it is. It's just timing. So, no, you will have those days. Stay encouraged, my friend.
I kind of feel like I'm going through it now.
Really?
Lately, I have not been able to create. Like, I really haven't been able to put anything together. And I also feel like it's like my space because like I live on campus and I don't know, I feel like I like my dorm room, but I feel like being in there isn't really inspiring. But my room at home, the way I had it set up, I just loved producing in my room. Like every day I just was in front of my computer just making something. So I also think that's another factor into it.
Well, you know what you do? Because you want to practice to be able to allow creativity to come through you, right? Because it'll come through you at any given time, right? So I just think as you experience more in life and stuff like that, it's going to flow, you know. But don't rely on the surroundings when the creativity is coming through you, right? Because you can close your eyes and still hear the same music. You don't know where you at unless you know where you at. You understand what I'm saying? So just give it some time. Watch some good movies. Get some new experiences. You know? Do something different. create without what you've been creating. What do you use to create?
Like the DAW I use?
Mhm.
Logic.
You play any instruments?
Yeah.
What do you play?
Guitar, bass.
Okay.
Those are the two main.
Turn the computer off for a couple of days and write songs on the guitar. Right? Just write 4, 5, 6 songs on the guitar from top to bottom. Write them. Boom. Then turn the computer on. Those songs, play it into the DAW. Right? Then finish it. Start different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Take a computer, go sit outside or somewhere, or go. You know? Yeah. Just approach it different.
How do you stay creative?
Receiving creativity.
Explain.
Well, whenever it knocks, I answer to it. You know what I mean? Whatever kind of way it is. But also, when I'm not actually creating, like I'm pretty much always creating. So I'm either listening to something, or putting ideas down, or I hear something, or I think about something, and just kind of stay open to it. You know, don't box creativity in. You know what I'm saying? Don't put creativity on any type of schedule. You know? There's times where I'm not actually making any music, but I'm always being creative. I'm listening to something, or I'm studying something, or I'm watching a documentary about someone or something, you know? Or I'm just going and listening to some of the strangest music from other cultures, you know? So, for me, it's just my love for it, you know? And I just kind of stay open for whenever the creativity does hit, because it's already inside of you. You have the gift, you know? But you use the gift. You know what I mean? Because sometimes technology and these computers and stuff that we all love and make it a lot simpler for us, it can wipe and try to steal some of that creativity that you guys have inside. You know, because it's all technical and it's almost like, you know, it's not a lot of feeling in it. And so you just have to take different approaches sometimes. You know, or try you play instruments?
Yes.
What do you play?
I play the guitar mainly, and I started learning how to play piano.
Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes, I'm telling you, sometimes you got some writer's block, take the digital, go unplugged for a little bit. And you're going to develop a new love for music itself. You know, because when it's kind of going into a computer, not that it's wrong, because of course, we use the computers and stuff like that, but sometimes just take a different approach. You know? Hum some melodies, work on some harmonies, just unplug for a minute. You know what I mean? Because there's so many aspects of creativity, right? We can create a song and hear it not use anything that's plugged in and make a massive hit. You know? So just stay open to the different aspects and approaches to music itself.
Yeah, because honestly, it just kind of like, for me, it's been like I kind of like took that bit of approach. I was recently this year, I kind of like just been like, you know, very doubtful a little bit on my creativity a lot, because I felt like that was something I really lacked on, because like I was just used to like being in front of a computer with the DAW of my choice, whatever it be. Then like, oh wow, that's where the creativity is. Now it's like I feel like it's kind of like, how you say it? Like I'm missing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now as I started playing with the piano or guitar whenever I'm by myself, it's like you're saying, it's like a different approach, and it's just something that I was like kind of looking for.
Yeah, well, you know what it is you're going through, young man? Your mind is wanting more, right? That means your creativity is far past that computer, which is a great thing, right? Your creativity is telling you, I want more. There's more that you can give. Because there's nothing musical about the computers at all, period. Period, nothing. The computer can't sing, it can't play, can't do nothing. So what you put in, yeah, you might be able to add some loops or stuff like that, but no, your creativity is pulling for something more from you. You know what I mean? So when you do go back and sit in front of that computer, you and that computer gonna know where the creativity is coming from. It ain't coming from that computer, it's coming from you. So sometimes you gotta put your hands to the actual strings to feel the creativity. You have to put your hands to them drums or them keys, do it. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, There's nothing you can't do, young man. Trust me. You can do whatever it is that you want to do. Just be as creative as possible. You know, but feel it. Feel something tangible when you create. Sometimes you gotta close some computers down, man. You know?
Right.
You threw a number out like 30, 40,000 songs, right?
Yeah.
And is that life or is that like professional career? Because
Man.
I think what we're getting at too is like you got to make a lot of music.
Yeah, you
Wow.
gotta, man, bro, listen, you gotta make, I
I
got
don't mean-
so much music, man, you just have to make track after track after track after, just keep being creative.
Yeah, because I just want to make sure, like, I know the countless music that eventually I'll be able to make in my life, I don't want to lose the love or the spark of creativity. I don't want it to be just like a job, like, fuck, now I don't want it to be like, damn, now I hate it, or it's like I want to keep that emotion. I want to keep that passion. So,
Yeah, and you will. You know, just don't let technology or anyone else's pace or none of that deter you from honing in on what you have. You know, just keep being creative and just switch up your approach sometimes. You know, that's all.
Do you feel like the reason a lot of people might not gravitate towards computers is because they're not like inherently designed to make music, as opposed to like when you have instruments or when you have recording equipment, those are things that are designed to do like one thing and one thing in specific?
I think it's various reasons why some people veer away from computers, man. Some of them just feel like it kind of takes away some of the feeling. Some just don't want to go through the learning curve. You know what I'm saying? But I think if you find yourself losing feeling because of technology, just back off of it for a minute. You know, or just be more intentional on how you use it. Right? Turn it on. Pull up whatever DAW you use. Pull up a keyboard patch. Don't create. Just play. Just play. Go through some sounds. Don't actually put nothing together. Just sit there and just play. Oh man, I like this pad. Let me see what I can do to make this pad feel better. Take an hour, 2 hours, and just craft a sound or something. Or take a sound and manipulate it. But don't make any tracks. Just play sometimes. You know? Sometimes I think we get, into the race of, okay, how many, like I wasn't doing 5-6 tracks a day because I wanted the quantity. Nah. That's just what was coming out of me, out of the creativity that was coming out of me. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't really, we had computers, but for the most part, I was going from my MPCs right into the computer, and I wasn't touching no computers at all, just the engineer, the Pro Tools. So, just stay creative as much as possible, but it doesn't always have to be making tracks. You know what I'm saying? Just play sometimes. What's in that? That's a
Alto saxophone.
alto?
Alto.
How long you been playing?
6th grade.
Sixth grade? Nice. You make your own loops?
I'm relearning my instrument.
Okay, good. Good, man. I love that.
But I do also work with guitar and piano, so I do make loops out of those most of the time.
That's good. Let me ask you a question. What's your favorite genre of music?
Pop and hip hop, or by time.
Pop and hip hop?
Hip hop mainly.
I'm more into like Latin music.
Okay.
Yeah, like bachata.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay, you?
alternative rock, pop, and sometimes I really love to get into like orchestral or cinematic type of, like very dramatic type of music too. And try to,
I love that. Yeah.
I just don't know how to incorporate it. So that's
Do you listen to Mozart, Bach?
Yeah,
Beethoven?
yeah. Sometimes I listen to that. There's times I just listen to underrated. I love listening to underrated artists, even if the ones I've never heard of before or they're not famous. It's just like, it always tells a story. That's the way I see it, and it just always draws me in. Especially the heroic, cinematic type of mood. That's just what I really love.
That's dope. That's dope, man. You?
I like hip hop, electronic. I also like a lot of alternative rock music.
That's kind of tough. I guess my answer is the same as his. Like, I grew up with hip hop and R&B, but I don't really listen to it as much nowadays. It's more of like a mixture of indie, alternative, like rock. Yeah, pretty much.
Me, I like hip hop and R&B, but I've been listening to classical and Latin.
Good. Good. Yeah.
I'd probably say alternative rock is my favorite, but I do listen to a little bit of everything.
Dope. Dope, man. Dope. I like it. I would say, are you guys at all into the writing aspect of the records?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, some of the best storytellers on earth are in a genre called country music.
Yes, sir.
Okay? They can tell you a story about going to a bar to get a beer, to come home, get in a fight with their girlfriend, but you can see the entire story.
Yeah.
Listening to them. Right? Study some country. The reason why I say study some country is because the union between the song, the melody, the words, and everything that they master is impeccable. You know? So just open up your mind to different genres. You know what I mean?
I forgot to add on, actually, thankful that you actually mentioned the country. I started listening to Morgan Wallen a few months back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really good.
And go back even further. You know, some of the best songwriters.
No comment.
Nashville is a place, man. That place right there, you almost. You guys do trips and stuff like that ever?
No,
No.
not naturally.
We do have some people Zoom in for guest lectures sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the greatest. They'll tell you some of the greatest songwriters in that genre. So I would say just open your mind up to different genres, because you can incorporate that. Look, the first time somebody say, you know what, I'm gonna mix country. Maybe not the first time, but what you might consider the first time. And then you got Old Town Road. Smash. Right? But somebody was like, man, let me just see how this works. And it worked. You know, so you just never know what you can incorporate into your sound. You know. And even if you don't incorporate it, having that in your brain subconsciously, it's gonna come up at some point in your creativity. You know. But and gospel too. If you really want some feeling, go listen to some gospel music. But yeah, man.
How do you specify certain things that you want to study when it comes to any genres you want to learn, like songwriting? Like let's say you want to learn, you want to get better at writing songs, right? You want to listen to country music. Okay, what would be like a good base to like start on?
Just honestly, you know what? Go with what makes you feel a certain type of way. You know what I mean? Go with what makes you feel a certain type of way. You know. For me, sometimes I would go and just study the greats, but then sometimes I would just find stuff and just listen to it. You know. And also, reading. If you want to really get into songwriting, reading really helps. It just helps your flow, and it helps you have the tools to be able to tell your story and really take people on a journey, you know. So a lot of reading, movies, you know, you can get tons of concepts from movies, right? But yeah, I just say go with what draws, you know, what you draw to when you listen to country music. You know what I mean? Those type of stories, whatever stories that intrigue you, listen to those stories, and then look at the writers, and then go see what else they've written. You know, but I can give you, take Diane Warren. She's she's in my top 5 songwriters of all times, right? This woman has been writing hits since the 60s, right? Bona fide hits. This woman has been writing. For rock bands, for R&B, she's been writing hits for everybody, right? y'all know the Bon Jovi song "Living on a Prayer." She wrote that. Okay, right?
Wait,
Diane wrote that, right?
Wait, she wrote that?
I forget she wrote that one. She did the crazy hits. She just wrote on the new Taylor Swift reissue that came out too.
Yeah, that's her too. Same lady.
Everything.
First, right. That song came out years ago. Don't want to miss a thing. Aerosmith. Same
She
lady.
wrote that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
She wrote all those real emotional like stuff, like pop hits,
Yeah.
like her.
And she also wrote "Unbreak My Heart" for Tony Braxton. Wow. Yeah. Same lady. And guess what? She writes from 9 to 5. That's just how she likes to do it. She don't sit in the studio for 50 hours. Nope. But when she go, she's phenomenal. Yeah. Diane Warren. You want to really get into some songwriting? Her, Lionel, Richie, Phil, Collins.
Yes, sir.
Go back a little bit. You know? Go back a little bit, y'all. Don't be afraid to study. Don't be afraid to study. Yes, sir.
This is not a question. This is just like this is how I really got into music. I've been drumming since I was 3 or 4.
It's drumming?
Yeah.
What kit you play?
What kit do I play on? Pro.
Pro.
Yes,
Sorry,
sir.
I'm a pro.
Yes, sir. And actually, my dad, both my parents were actually into Phil Collins, and I started listening to Phil Collins, and they always played it. And the one song that really got me into drumming was "In the Air Tonight."
Of course. That song got a lot of people into drumming.
That song was what.
How's that going?
That's what really sparked my music career, and ever since then,
Really?
I just always wanted to do music.
You ever played with a pair of Phil's drumsticks?
A pair of Phil's drumsticks?
Yeah, his
No.
by Promark. But you know why? Like I used to use Phil Collins drumsticks because I used to like to get around the set faster.
For sure.
His sticks are significantly shorter. Like a regular drumstick is gonna be about like that, maybe.
Right.
His are like this.
Really?
Yeah. When I first got them, I had a few nicks just from the snare because the way I play. No, for real. The stick is significantly smaller.
Yeah.
But once you get the hang of it, you can get around that set a lot faster.
For sure.
Try it.
Yeah.
Get your pair.
What's the pair?
Just go Phil Collins. I think Promark makes them.
Just Google it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Phil Collins signature. I don't know if they got bigger now, but you know what I'm saying? When I was younger, I used to use them, and I would jack my hands up for the first couple of weeks, but you'll like them.
I appreciate that.
This is not a question either, but it goes back to what you were saying before about like studying. Because growing up, even before I started making music, my dad would always tell me to listen to music before, especially in hip hop, because I grew up in hip hop and R&B, and he would always be like, listen to the music before, listen to all that before, because that's what makes the music now.
Mhm.
So I've always heard that my whole life.
Yeah, sure.
Always heard that.
Of course.
And like recently over the summer, me and my dad, we took out his old vinyl collection because I have a turntable, and I took out his vinyl collection and I've just been listening to those too. I brought some here to the campus.
And how you feel?
It's cool listening to stuff from, especially like, because those are his records from when he was younger, from the 70s and 80s. So.
Any bands stood out to you?
He has like Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, like New Edition. Who else?
Which Stevie Wonder album? Songs of the Kid Life?
He has that. He has a music aquarium, like a bunch of his like hits.
I'll tell you something. You really want to be inspired? Study that Songs of the Kid Life.
Mm-hmm. I actually over the summer I listened to that one. Like I sat down and listened to that one.
And then next time you listen to it, realize that that's Stevie playing every single instrument.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, drums and all. It's crazy, ain't it? Right? And the majority of those sounds that he's using, other than like the Rhodes and piano and the Wurlitzer and stuff that he used, is coming from a system called the Synclavier.
Yeah.
Right? That's now you can probably get it between $300,000 and $500,000.
I have the software version of that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty much what he was using, right? The sound at the beginning of Beat It, that was like a stock sound in the Synclavier, right? Yeah, study that album. I would suggest everybody listen to that album. That should be like an album y'all probably listen to at least every quarter of the year, from top to bottom. Stevie Wonder songs in the key of life.
That's like a whole chorus.
It's
Yeah,
gonna
bottom right
change.
here, you guys wanna listen to it?
It's gonna change. It's gonna change your life. I'm telling you, bro. Just listen to like his approach, like the journey he took you on. Not too like I mean, and okay, to help you in the areas of if you want to have changes, listen to him. His changes were so crazy. If you really not, you gotta like really know what's going on, or you just gotta just sit back and enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? As a musician, you're gonna be like, oh my God, how did he think of this? And did he just do that? Is it 3 verses before the first chorus? Like Stevie gave no cares. He did exactly what he felt because that was his art. You know what I'm saying? Don't let other people tell you how your art is supposed to be. You know? I don't care if you got one song, one sound through the whole doggone song. If it feel good, go with it. You know what I'm saying? God has blessed me to play 5 instruments. One of my biggest songs was 2 freaking samples. EPMD and Enya. But it was about the feeling. You know? Of course, my musician mind, I want to be like, man, nah, you need to.
I always feel like
I'm like, man, I ain't had nothing to that. You know what I mean? Yeah. You gotta know when to let it be. You know? Yeah. Yes, sir.
You have any like favorite pieces of mixing gear or just like beat making equipment or anything?
Yeah. I have a few actually. There's just some outboard gear that I've always loved. You know, anything by Neve, Focusrite. You know, I still use Tube Tex, Pultex. But just different tricks, you know. Like I'll use octave pedals sometimes, like guitar bass octave pedals on my synth bass. That's a jewel I just dropped, y'all. I don't know if y'all realize that. You know what I mean? Try it.
What's your favorite like keyboard to use or like synth that you have?
I could never. Well, one of my favorite keyboards is the Roland JP8000.
Oh, okay.
And that's because of how much emotion I can get out of it. Yeah. There's just something about that synth, man. You know, that's one of my favorites. Yes, sir.
Have you? This is a question, not related to me, but have you ever met or worked with Timbaland?
I know Tim. I'm trying to think if I ever worked, done anything with Tim.
Because he's another one that's.
It's a couple of it's a couple of songs. No, Tim was dope. It's a couple of songs I think I might have finished with him or something like that. But yeah, I know Tim. Yeah, Tim was dope. Definitely somebody else to study. Like look at his creativity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yes, sir.
How did you get involved with Bad Boy, like the record label?
A relationship. Honestly, a guy named Kevin Wells, who managed 112 at the time, he introduced me to Puff. And I called Puff, and Puff said, come to New York, That was it.
All right, I want to be mindful of your time. How you doing?
What is the time?
It's about 7:20. We've gone well over, but you know we.
It's 7:21. Oh my God.
7:21.
Yeah. I gotta get out of here.
All right.
This has been great. We gotta do this again.
We'll definitely have you.
We gotta do this again.
Anytime.
Maybe next time if we have more time, we could probably jam.
Yeah. So let's figure out how to do that. Maybe like the first quarter of next year.
Absolutely.
I'll come back just to listen.
That'll be great.
Right? Just come back and just listen. Y'all can play me whatever y'all want to play. I'll have some time. I'll come and just kick it. Get some pizzas and I'll just listen to all y'all music. You know what I'm saying?
Did you say next year or next semester?
Huh?
Yeah, next
You
year.
said next year?
Yeah. Why you ain't gonna be here?
I'm not gonna be here.
You can come back.
Yeah, I'm about to say,
You're gonna be alright. You're gonna be alright.
Figure out what it is. Bring your behind over here, man.
Alumni love.
Yeah. No, you gotta.
I'll book a studio session. You have to come here and
Well,
Can we say thank you? Thank you.
Yo, no, listen.
This is just the beginning, guys. I will be back. Believe me.
And just, this means the world to me. And just so y'all know, like, what it was almost like when I reached out, I didn't even finish the sentence. Mario was like, yes. Like, and that's that generosity I've been telling y'all about, like, that it transcends anything else. Like, I feel like everybody I've come in contact with in the music industry that I admire, who has that gift and also that lasting power, also is super generous and really understands what we're trying to build.
Because that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
I mean, thank you for modeling that. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your
All
energy.
pleasure, man. Thank God.
Your family at Mercy University.
Yeah, I know y'all at now. Trust me, I'm gonna be popping up on y'all. Yeah, don't worry.
Yo, one more time.
Now I know. Guys, thank you. Thank you so much, guys. And stay encouraged, man. Stay encouraged. Never let anyone or anything, man, deter you from your gift that God gave you.
For sure.
Always know your why you're doing it. And it's all about the people. Okay? It's all about the people. Just keep your mind there. It's always the bigger picture. You know, don't worry about the avenue from your creativity to the people. Just remember, all that stuff in the middle is just the tool. It's about you, that creativity, and the people. Keep that in the forefront of your mind. There's nothing you can't do. All right? And I will see y'all in a few months. Y'all think I'm playing? I won't be here.
Nice.
In a hoodie, in some sweatpants with some pizza. We're going to listen to y'all music.
Let's do it.
Okay? Don't make music that you think I want to hear. Make what you feel. Okay?